Welcome everybody to another episode of Reversing Glass. I'm Matt Rose, Field CISO at ReversingLabs. Today's episode of Reversing Glass is called CircleCI Hack Thoughts. If you're in the press, you might have heard about the recent CircleCI hack and the fact that it was compromised and that the company itself said you need to rotate all of your secrets associated with your CI/CD pipeline. So thinking about that, I kind of was thinking about an analogy and a new lens of risk that people may not be thinking about when they're thinking about software supply chain risk. So the analogy I kind of want to start out with is a supply chain for a car manufacturer. I just created a hypothetical car company called US Cars Inc. Don't want to insult anybody out there, car manufacturers. Please don't send me nasty grams. That's why I use USA Cars Inc. So thinking about this, we have this very simplistic assembly line to build a car. You have a chassis with wheels, then you put the body on it, you paint it, you put a window in it, and then that rolls out the door. Well, the car itself has a lot of security concerns and protections and software that needs to be updated and a bill of materials for the car. But also, this is a factory that's actually building the car itself. So thinking about protecting, and this little guy's a robot, if you can see this, so all the robots, making sure that there's not a compromise of the robots. Somebody has unauthorized access through an open door within the factory. So not only is the security of the artifact itself, the car in this case, but all of these steps, the robots that build the frame and the wheels, and then the chassis, and then put a window on it and paint it and push it out. So it's very similar to what I wanted to talk about associated with CircleCI. Thinking about the same analogy, an assembly line to build cars, there's an assembly line or a software supply chain to build your application or your piece of software. So, the process is kind of going like IDE, code repo, and then your, CI orchestration, your continuous delivery, continuous deployment, your push to your cloud environment or a data center. So this is very similar in terms of, the car, the chassis, the windows, the paint. IDE, you develop some code, you check it into a repo. The continuous integration, like CircleCI, basically picks up the artifact, puts it all together. The CD process deploys it to whatever environment you're looking at. One of the things that software supply chain really focuses on is the entity itself, the package. Let's just call it a DLL, that basically, or the code that turns into a DLL and follows all the way through. We're looking at it with application security testing technologies. We're looking at it with software supply chain type issues. We're pen testing. We're all the different aspects. But are we really looking at the entities like the IDE, the code repo, the continuous integration or CI orchestration, the continuous delivery deployment, or the cloud or the data center that it's deployed to? The threat that is actually propagated to the top of CircleCI is this piece of the puzzle in the software development CI/CD DevOps process has been compromised. So if you do all the testing on the artifact itself, whether it's SCA or SAST or software supply chain security or pen testing or whatever it is, you're going to miss something if one of the core competencies, just like in the assembly line for the car, one of the robots is compromised, or somebody puts malware into the embedded operating system of the software for the car. If you're looking at only the entity and not the structure that builds it, you potentially have a software supply chain risk. So software supply chain risk isn't just about what the code or the compiled artifact, it's the technologies, the tooling that actually create the aspect itself. That's why CircleCI hack, I think, is an eye-opener to a lot of organizations out there. So it's not just the code or the open source, it's actually the process itself has to be secured. So don't just eliminate security of your CI/CD process or your DevOps process tooling. Think about how that can be protected or compromised if you're using a vendor like a CircleCI, Jenkins, Harness, Ansible, Chef, Puppet, all of these tools, or an IDE like Eclipse or Visual Studio. If one of the core technologies of the application, development process is compromised, then it may actually compromise the entity itself. Hope you found that interesting. Drop comments and tell me what you think, but this is just my thoughts of comparing what building a car would be like with robots and an assembly line in a factory to the IDE process, and make sure not only is the entity, the car in case of this example, or the DLL in this example, is secure based on the technologies, tooling, machines that actually create it. I'm Matt Rose. This is Reversing Glass. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode.